There she blows. There she blows.
Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. This is footage of the solar eclipse on March the 9th, 2016, taken from my backyard in Phuket, southern Thailand. Now in Thailand, solar eclipses are considered not to be a result of the moon passing in front of the sun, but a dark planet or disk called Rahu, and this comes from Vedic Astronomy. And if we just compare conventional science, Western science, with Vedic and possibly Hindu astronomy, what we have is a lot of stories being told to explain what is happening in the heavens. And one thing that is a point of contention amongst flat earth debaters is being able to predict eclipses and other celestial events. And okay, fine, the math and equations that support the conventional Western scientific model can predict when eclipses will happen, and that is fine. But Vedic astronomy is also a perfect predictor that has been quite effective for several thousand years before conventional science came along. Now, I'd just like to read an extract from Krishna.org, and this is written by a guy called Madhuvisa Dasa. So while you watch the footage, let's just see what he has to say about the solar eclipses. According to Vedic astronomy, the most ancient and accurate system of astronomy on the planet, solar eclipses are not caused by the moon coming in front of the sun, as astronomers believe. Rather, the moon is described as being further away than the sun, and what happens at the time of a solar eclipse is the moon goes behind the sun, and a dark planet called Rahu comes between the sun and the earth. Of course, because we have been conditioned to believe as fact the structure of the universe as it has been taught to us since childhood, we find it very difficult to accept such a thing. But it only requires a little thought to see that actually the modern scientific idea is incompatible with our observations, and the timeless Vedic knowledge is compatible with our observations. Look at the moon on a full moon night. It is shining so brightly that it lights up the whole surface of the earth. On a full moon night, you can clearly see everything. Of course, it is not as bright as sunshine, but everything is very clearly visible. And if you were to view the earth from space on a full moon night, it would not be dark. It would be illuminated by the moonshine, and all the features of the earth would be clearly visible. As there is moonshine, there must also be earthshine. Much of the earth is covered by water, which is a good reflector of sunlight. In fact, the scientists say earthshine is much brighter than moonshine, and according to our understanding, the earth is enormous in comparison to the size of the moon. So, if the moonshine can completely illuminate this earth on a full moon night, then the earthshine can completely illuminate the moon. The earthshine bombarding the moon at the time of a total solar eclipse would be at least 10 times brighter than the moonshine on the earth on a full moon night. If Western astronomers are correct, the solar eclipse would be the perfect time to see the moon illuminated by earthshine. The shadow created which causes the solar eclipse on Earth is, according to NASA, at most 167 miles wide. So if you were sitting on the moon during a solar eclipse, you would see an extremely bright Earth planet with a dark circle of only 167 miles wide. This is not enough to diminish the Earthshine in any significant way. So even though the sun is behind the moon, the full force of the sunshine is hitting the earth and reflecting off those shiny blue oceans and reflecting off the land also. So the moon is completely illuminated by earthshine, even though the sun is directly behind it. Now, if Western astronomers were correct, if you were in that 167-mile wide path of the total eclipse of the sun, when the sun was completely covered, you would of course see the sky become black, and then you could see the stars. But if the sun was covered by the moon, you would be able to see the moon quite clearly in front of the sun, illuminated by the earthshine. Of course, it would not be as bright as the full moon, but the earthshine would certainly illuminate the surface of the moon, so we could clearly see it and clearly make out the features of the moon's surface. But this does not happen. During a solar eclipse, the sun goes completely black, and even though the sunlight is blocked out and the sky goes black, one cannot detect the moon at all. It is just black. No moon. Of course, we should be able to see the features on the moon as it is being bathed in brilliant earthshine. The sun should disappear and we should see the stars, and in the place of the sun we should see the moon, illuminated by the earthshine. But we don't see this. So what does that mean? It means it is not the moon causing the solar eclipses. We know from the Vedas that what causes solar eclipses is a dark planet, currently unknown in the Western world, which hides in the shadow of the moon. Rahu is relatively close to us, around about the same distance as we think the moon is, but it is completely black. It does not reflect sunlight at all. So even though there is plenty of earthshine falling on Rahu, because it is a black planet, none of that light will be reflected back, so we will see the sun simply blacked out in the sky on a full eclipse, which is what we do see. So this is absolute proof that the assumption of Western astronomers that solar eclipses are caused by the moon coming between the Earth and the sun is wrong. Because if that was the case, we would be able to see the moon during the full eclipse of the sun, as it would be bathed in bright earthshine. Madhadvisa Dasa. It's worth pointing out that in Thailand, when there is a solar eclipse, people bang on pots and pans and generally try to make a noise because they believe that Rahu is eating the sun. And the idea of banging the pots and pans is to kind of scare Rahu away, and obviously that's what happens every time. He ends up going away and leaving the sun alone. And this story can be found throughout all kinds of scriptures from in and around Southeast Asia and India. Rahu is featured in temples all over Thailand as well. So it's very much an accepted part of the historical astronomy of this region, and again many thousands of years older and just as precise as conventional science, which again, when it comes to the movements of the sun and the moon, is based on math and just being a big clock in the sky. So when you talk about Newton and Galileo and all these Western scientists being able to predict solar eclipses and equinoxes and the like, all they are doing is using a timetable, mathematical formula, and you can use circles if you like to predict when things will happen in the sky. This is irrelevant to the speed, size or distance from Earth of those objects, and it is not relevant whether the Earth is a ball or a disc. It's just keeping time. So if you keep this in mind as you watch this footage, you will see that there are no distinctive features that we do often see on the edge of the moon. If we zoom up close to the moon, we can often see little ridges and things, features on the moon which you cannot see on this disk passing in front of the sun. And when I first started looking into flat Earth and looking at the angles from the Earth to the sun and the moon, it occurred to me that, wow, actually the sun, by these kinds of calculations, the same kinds of calculations you use with a sextant, the sun is apparently closer than the moon. And of course, if we are talking about everything being covered up by Satan worshippers and the like, then of course they turn everything inside out, upside down, and tell us that the sun is very, very far away and the moon is close. So again, it's quite acceptable in the realm of the flat earther to consider that it's actually the sun which is close and the moon which is far away. And I can tell you, being in Thailand, that it is very, very hot and the sun feels very, very close. Yet, when observing and feeling the moon, again, I've done experiments to try and prove this. The moon is cold, moonlight is cold, and moonshade is warmer. Other people have done this and support this theory. Who knows how it really works? Who knows what's really going on up there? But what is plainly obvious is that there are people telling us they know, and they don't know, and they can't go up there and check it out. If solar eclipses were the result of the moon coming between the sun and the earth, then we should have some wonderful pictures from space, from NASA, of this amazing phenomenon. But we don't. All we have is CGI. So please enjoy this genuine footage of the solar eclipse, predicted in all kinds of astronomy, whether it's Vedic, Hindu, or otherwise. It's a beautiful thing. It's the big clock in the sky, keeping time for us mortal humans on this beautiful, flat, level Earth. Thank you very much.